Hello there, family, friends, and viewers from across the world. Thanks for stopping in. Well, today's video is for those drone pilots that would like to know what basic settings that I use to fly outdoors. I already did a video on the Phantom 3 Professional, which is the basic settings, outdoor settings for the Phantom 3 Professional. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the video on showing you the basic settings that I use to fly outdoors with my Phantom 4 Pro. We're not going to go outdoors and fly. We're just going to show you the basic settings that I personally use to make it safe for me to fly outdoors. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and perform the act. I'm going to go ahead and show you the settings. Okay, so sit tight, stay tuned. We'll see you in a few. Okay guys, real quick, I have here the Phantom 4 Pro, and I'm going to show you my basic settings that I use to fly outdoors. Now, the first thing is that you want to do is you want to make sure you have a full battery charge, full remote charge, and your tablet is nice and charged. And you always want to make sure that that everything is nice and tight. You have no cracks. Your gimbal is in place. There's nothing funny or no funny activity. Your SD card's on there, and make sure everything is there correctly. And that's basically what I like to do. Make sure, look it over. And a lot of people remove these stickers, but I don't remove them. I removed the one here, but I always clean it with a microfiber, and I always clean the sensors with a microfiber cloth. And the camera, of course, you wipe. I always wipe it down, and then when I put it away, I put the microfiber over it. That's basically what I do. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and start this. The first thing that I like to, normally the app tells you when you need to do the firmware update. Okay. Now the first thing that I go to fly. Now, I can be in front of my house 25, 30 times, and I will always do the calibrate. After I calibrated that, okay, go to settings, and then the quad here, the quadcopter there, and then I always tap on the home just to make sure that it did mark my home. Right now it's set at P mode, so when I have it on P mode, that's when I'm recording on taking images, and that's a good setting, and it flies slowly. And then the vision positioning and then the obstacle avoiding system works, and you will never disable that. Now on sports mode, that's when you're going fast. So basically what I like to do is say I went on P mode, and I took a couple of videos of a ship or any tree or anything that brought my attention. And then if I want to hurry up and bring it back home, I just set it at I put it on sports mode. And then the attitude mode, it disables your the satellite and your GPS, but it won't disable your remote control signal. So just be careful and be aware of that. Okay, I like to fly in eyesight. A lot of people like to just throw away and just until they don't see it anymore. I don't like doing that. I really don't recommend that. So just be careful with that. Then we're gonna go to the quad, and then the return to home. Return to home, I have it set at 45 meters. And then I'm gonna go ahead and explain return to home. Right now, there's a big tree in front of my house. Okay? There's a huge tree in front of my house. And then what I did was, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm gonna use my quadcopter to measure from the top of the tree and the bottom of the tree. So how can I determine how high that tree is? So what I did was I used my quadcopter, and then I went over it, and then here, let me just show you the basic here, and then on the vision positioning system, it tells you how many feet are you from the ground. I use that there, or the home feet here. You know, not the distance. No, I don't use the distance. Distance is how far is it from you. But yeah, basically what I use is these numbers here, and sometimes I use that, but I use that, these are the numbers, and it's gonna tell me how high off the ground you are. And then basically, so what I did was I used my quadcopter, and when I went over on the tree, it told me it measured 79 feet. Okay, 79 feet. Okay, that's basically what it is. And then another thing is that if you don't understand what meters are, you take your phone, and then what you do is you go to Google, and then you go to Google, and then you go to you just type in on the search bar, you put convert meters to feet chart, and then it'll give you a chart right there. Okay, so if you don't understand what meters are, it'll give you a chart right there. Do is you take your 79 feet, and then you do is you convert, you put 79, and it'll convert into meters. So right now 79 foot is 24 meters. Okay, so I have mines right now, I have it set at, tell you right, return home, I have it set at 45 meters. So 45 meters, so basically what 45 meters is 147 feet. Okay, so that's really good. So you're over 79 feet. Okay, so that's basically what I use. Always use what's the biggest tree or the highest building. You know, because if you want to return to home or you lose signal, you want your aircraft to be over the tree or, of course, over, say, a building. You know, and you can have a building too. You know, basically with the building. So if the building is 100 foot, then what you do is you go to your phone, and then you just go ahead and put the 100 foot, and then it's 3.48 meters, but you're just gonna go ahead and put 30 meters, you know, and that's basically what I always like to do. I always like to see and what's the biggest and tallest tower or building or tree, you know, because when your aircraft is coming from far away, you don't want your aircraft to hit the building, or you don't want the aircraft to hit a tree. Other thing is that I want to cover up here, it's the beginner mode. I don't use beginner mode. So to set max altitude, I leave it at 55 meters, and then enable distance, I leave that at 5,000 meters, you know, which I don't even go that far. So if you're flying, imagine that, 5,000 meters. So let me just go ahead and put 5,000 meters here. That's 5,000 meters is 1,604 feet. That's still a lot, you know, that's still a lot. So I like to set mine. The max goes up to 8,000, but I always leave mine at 5,000. And then the advanced settings, and then of course the gain, and let me show you the sensitivity, which let me show you the sensors. Yeah. Now, on one thing that I want to cover here is that every time I do the firmware update, I always do the IMU calibration, and I always do the compass all the time. Every time I do the firmware update, the IMU is the first thing that I do, and I always go ahead and I reset everything, because what happened is that when you do the firmware update, it resets everything. So you basically want to go ahead and calibrate your remote, okay? And you want to go ahead and make sure you put everything back to where it belongs. Another thing that I want to cover up here is that when sometimes there's people that say, hey, listen, I have a Phantom 3, a Phantom 4, a Phantom Pro, etc. And they be like, hey, listen, I have an aircraft here and I'm selling it, and I only flew it 5 times. This right here will tell you how many times you flew it. So when you go to the battery, like I can say, hey, listen, I'm selling my Phantom 4 Pro and I only used it 5 times. That's how many times I charged it. 5 times. And that's how you know. A lot of people, hey, yeah, I only flew it 4 times, 3 or 4 times. You look at that number. Because the last time that I was going to buy a Phantom 4, they said 7 times. And then when I looked at that number, it says 27 times. I'm like, dude, are you trying to trick me? DJI, trust me. That's why I use this a lot. I love DJI. Now, advanced settings. I always set to discharge the battery. I put it in 2 days, and let me see the sensors. I have everything there. Everything is green. I'll keep everything in green. That doesn't bother me. I keep everything in green. And of course, you can set it on auto for the HD, the image transmission settings. You can set it auto, but you can customize it. I leave mine at 5.8. Okay, I leave that there, and then the battery, and then the camera, of course. Gimbal auto calibration, I always do that too. Every time I do my firmware update, I go ahead and do the whole 9 yards. Again, this is my basic tips that I like to do, and of course, I like to take care of my stuff. And again, I mean, there's a lot of people that use different settings, but this is the basic settings that I normally use. And again, so just be careful, just fly safe, and don't forget to okay guys, so thanks for watching, and appreciate your help. Thanks guys.